Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been more than a moment since I actually filmed a new video, so thank you so much for being patient with me. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the videos on here. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome, and I really hope you enjoy the videos here. So thank you so much for sticking around with me all through last year. Thank you for your comments, your questions. Everything means a lot, and thank you to all my subscribers. Every time I log into YouTube, I see more of you guys following me, so thank you so much. So today I wanted to do more like a recap of everything we've been talking about last year with regards to OSPAP. So I still get loads and loads and loads of questions, and I thought if I do this mini FAQ, it will be helpful, especially for people who are just watching my channel for the first time. So the first question I always get, or people always want to know, what OSPAP should I choose? And I keep saying this: if you need a visa to come into the UK, so if you need a student visa, especially a student visa, then you need to select the MSc option. If you do the postgraduate diploma option, it'll be difficult for you to switch into a visa that would allow you to work in the UK. It might mean that you have to, after your OSPAP, you might need to leave the country, go back to your home country and apply for a working visa from there. And these things waste a lot of time, and you might actually miss out on your pre-reg and other kinds of training. Whereas if you did an MSc, you'll be able to switch whilst you're in country. That's just the simple reason why. So even though it might be a little bit more expensive, but when you think about the cost and the time that you're going to be wasting going back to your country to reapply, to come back in, it's better you just do it from the beginning. But if you have a visa, maybe a spouse visa or any other kind of visa that is not a student visa, then I might say do some research and see if you would, it would be better for you to do a postgraduate diploma instead of the MSc version. So I think the rule of the thumb should be, if you know you're going to want to switch to a working visa whilst you're in the UK, or if you know you're going to need it, then you need to do the MSc version. If you're on any other kind of visa, maybe another work visa, or you're on your spouse's visa, or any other kind of visa that means that you don't need to switch, or anything else, then that's totally fine. So another question I get is, what are the prospects of being a UK pharmacist after doing OSPAP? So I mean, it's very difficult to say this is what you're going to get, but generally, and this is based on all the people that I know who have done OSPAP, including myself, you will always get a job. You will get a job. Maybe it might not be your dream job, but you will get a job. I'm doing my dream job, so it is very, very possible. So you will get a job because they still need pharmacists. I know there are many people who already live in the UK who want to become pharmacists or who are pharmacists, but there is always a need for pharmacists in hospital, in GP practices, in community pharmacy, and there's so many other roles that you can do as a pharmacist. People can work in industry as well. So yes, there will always be roles. As I said before, you might just need to move from one area to the other of the UK, which is not strange. I mean, most people do it for most jobs. So I think all the time I've been in the UK, I've moved quite a few times. I've lived in Manchester, I've lived in London, I've lived in Scotland, and now I'm in South East England. So I've moved about 4 or 5 times. But yeah, so you can do it as well. What else? What other question do I get? I think another thing I get is people want to know if, you're able to get the money that you spend during OSPAP back. You can, but I can't 100% say you get it in the first year or in the second year, because obviously you'd have other needs. You'd have rent to pay, you'd have council tax, you have bills and stuff like that. But I feel like it's doable. So if you are prepared to work extra hard, do locum shifts and everything, you'll probably be able to get that money back. But that's with a lot of hard work and stress. So I would say don't focus on that. Just focus on, having a good job, having that job security and things like that. Another question I get is around visas. People want to know, what are the visa prospects afterwards? So as I said, if you have an MSc, then you're able to switch into the post-study work visa, which is 2 years. And with that 2 years, you can obviously do your pre-reg, and you can also start a 1 year, you can start working for at least 1 year before you find someone or an employer that will sponsor you, because you will need to be sponsored eventually. There are other kind of visas. There's the health and social care. So the health and care visa, there's a tier 2 visa, which is a really popular one. which most people get. So yes, you will get employers that will be willing to sponsor you. The NHS is a very big employer, and they usually will sponsor people. Many community pharmacists will also sponsor people. I don't know about GP practices just yet, but I know that NHS and community pharmacies, they would be willing to sponsor. It's always useful to ask them from the beginning, if you're looking for jobs, if they have a tier 2 license, especially with community pharmacies, because most NHS employers would have a tier 2 license, many of them. But the ones like community pharmacy, then it's always useful to ask them. But the big ones like Superdrug, Boots, Lloyd's, you know, I think some bigger independents as well, they do have a tier 2 visa or a tier 2 license, so you'll be able to get sponsored. And how to become, you know, a permanent resident, a British citizen. Obviously, if you're on a tier 2 visa, which is a working visa, you need to be in it for almost 5 years. After the 5th year, you're eligible to apply for a permanent residency or indefinite leave to remain. And after 1 year on your independent leave to remain, then you can apply to become a British citizen. So from the time you get a working visa, which is a tier 2, it will take you about 6 years to become a British citizen. As far as everything goes well, you haven't done anything dodgy and you pass all the, you know, criteria that they require. So it is straightforward. I know a lot of my friends who are British citizens already. So it is very, very doable. I think the most straightforward route would obviously be the tier 2 visa. Again, if you stay in the UK for 10 years, then you will be eligible to apply for independent leave to remain. So there's so many routes to be able to be permanent in the UK if you want to. So as far as you have a good job and you have employers willing to sponsor you, your route to become a permanent resident in the UK or a British citizen is really straightforward, as far as you work hard and don't do any dodgy stuff in the country. Another question I get a lot is if you're able to work while you're a student. So yes, you can, but if you're on a student visa, I think most times it's limited to about 20 hours per week, but I don't know if they've changed it, you know, like these things change every single time. So I don't know if it would change. So with the 20 hours per week, it's not really a lot, like it's literally going to be part-time. But what I'd always encourage people is that don't put it at the back of your mind that you would need to survive to, like, you need to work to be able to survive, if that makes any sense. So I always encourage people to try and save as much as you can and don't rely on the fact that you can work, because if that fails, then you're going to be under intense stress because you might have financial difficulties. And remember, you're trying to settle into a new country, you're reading, you know, these things can affect you a lot. So I would really recommend trying to save already before coming, so at least you have something to live by. And even if you don't get a job, then you're still going to be okay. There's student jobs there, you know, you can work as I think it's a dispenser in community pharmacy. You can work as a Saturday or weekend boy or girl, which is just being like a counter assistant. But you won't be able to work as a pharmacy technician because you need specified hours to be able to do that, and you need to kind of work almost full time to be able to do that. You can work in other places, like maybe some shops. You can work as a waitress, you can work as a waiter, bar person. But you know, with the whole pandemic now, I think part-time jobs are really, really difficult to get hold of because of everything that's going on at the moment. But a couple of years ago, it was slightly easier to have a part-time job. But for now, it's kind of, I don't know what the prospects are. But in terms of full-time job as a pharmacist, of course, healthcare, there is a lot of prospects. But with part-time jobs as a student, it's slightly more difficult. So that's why I would say try and have all the money that you need. And if you do get a job as a part-time person whilst you're a student, then that's fine. That's just extra money that you can save. But don't think you'll be able to rely on that income from a part-time job, because it will be very small. 20 hours is not a lot. So yeah, I think I've answered most of the questions people ask me with this video. If you have any other questions, leave them down below. And my next video, I will be talking a whole lot more about some of the questions you would ask and any other research that I have done so far. So thank you so much for watching. I am so glad to be back, and I hope I see you guys all around. Thank you once again for sticking by me. Thank you for your beautiful questions, and thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.